The grid for final two is set by fastest laps, and surprise, surprise, it's Jamie Jenkins in pole position. He set that fastest lap in the first heat while he was chasing down the pack. No surprise to see Phil Ingram on the front row. He had a rocket ship in the first final, and it pays dividends for the grid for final two. Dan Butler, Mark Craddock on the second row, Darren Teal, Lee Clackett on the third. We're racing, it's the second final at Whilton Mill from Premier Class, and it's Jenkins ahead of Butler. Ingram's missed the start. Jenkins leads. We're on board with Ingram in third, Darren Teal on his bumper. Butler going to the inside of Jenkins. That was too easy. Butler through to the lead, and Jenkins is going to lose out here to Ingram unless he puts him on the grass, and he does, and he's not happy, and Teal has spun out. Contact with Mark Craddock there. I think that could be an ABC. And there's trouble down the back. Cowell's over the grass. Don't know if he gained a position there or not. All's fair in love and war. So Butler pulling clear rapidly. He's 1.4 seconds clear already. It looks as though Dan Butler's got the staff cart for final two. Anthony Teal puts a move on Chris Bell, but he may lose out to Lister into Christmas corner. And look again, Ingram up the inside for second. Well, if Jamie Jenkins is struggling for top end, he's going to be hamstrung for a final at Whilton Mill. The run up the hill to Christmas corner is the prime overtaking spot on the circuit. Anthony Teal leads the charge from 7th backwards. Jonathan Lister in 8th, Chris Bell 9th, John Pethick 10th. Well, here we go again. Jenkins under pressure from Mark Craddock and Lee Clackett this time. Clackett to the inside of Craddock. Now Willie operate as a rear gunner for Jamie Jenkins. Can he hold back the tide? Butler going through. Ingram, Jenkins, Clackett, Craddock, Powell, Anthony Teal, Jonathan Lister on his bumper. Anthony looking for a truce and cooperation to get back to this chasing group. Ingram second, Jenkins, Clackett, the rest of the field streaming by. Trot put wheels almost in the tyres there. Oh, and he's fighting with Laucom now, fighting over 18th place. You wouldn't think it, you think they were racing for the lead. Laucom has the position. Andy Cowell, Stu Simons fighting over 13th with Oliver Allwood behind. Jenkins beginning to lose ground on Phil Ingram. It's nearly a second. Clackett dutifully sat on his bumper. And Jamie lets him go. Simons to the inside of Andy Cowell. That's for 13th. Craddock goes past Jenkins now. And already Chris Powell is closing in. Powell to the inside of Jenkins in the Christmas corner. Jenkins down to 7th. Craddock puts a move on Lee Clackett. So Mark Craddock up to 3rd. And Jamie Jenkins is falling backwards towards Anthony Teal and Jonathan Lister. Clackett looking to take back 3rd place from Mark Craddock. Had to think about it into the pit bend, not a realistic move. And that's let Powell close on into his bumper. Powell getting a run. Clackett will be forced to go narrow, and he does. Powell had to think about it, but here comes Anthony Teal. He's got wheels inside of Jamie Jenkins. Jamie's going to have to let him go, and he does. And Lycida's through at the same time. Will this be a score that Jamie Jenkins will have to discard? Back to the battle for 15th. Andy Cowell, Oliver Allwood, Palm V in a jar. Mark Lowcombe, Brian Trott. Trott not making a lot of progress in this final. There's only 20 karts in the final, and we're looking at the battlefield. Pethick passing Jenkins now. And Cowell's having to defend for all his worth from Oliver Allwood. Was that Lycida putting a move on Anthony Taylor? It's all kicking off here. Lowcombe on the grass with Najjar pushing him off. Bell has just passed Jamie Jenkins. Jamie down to 10th. And he's in trouble. Simons and Tebbett have gone through. In fact, I think Jamie's giving this one up. Simons looking to the inside of Tebbett, and he's through. 10th place. Lowcombe to the inside of Najjar at Christmas Corner. Oh, Andy Cowell has spun off. Look at the lead that Dan Butler's got. It's 4.5 seconds ahead of Phil Ingram, and he's got a couple of seconds on Lee Clackett. Side by side, Lowcombe and Teal. Battle for 17th. Jenkins now has Brenton Miller on his bumper. And look, Miller's closing in rapidly, and he's going through. No problems for Dan Butler. Another fastest lap. He takes his lap time under 44 seconds for the first time in this final. A hand up from Jamie Jenkins. He's pulling out of this final. That's a drop score. So there's no point finishing the final.
That's a bit of a shocker. That'll do me for today.
Battle for third place is still on. Lee Clackett, Chris Powell, Mark Craddock, Jonathan Lycida. Well, it looks as though Jamie's organising his lift home. Lycida looking to put a move on Mark Craddock into Inkermans, not quite close enough. Anthony Teal falling away from this chasing group, fighting over third. He's looking over his shoulder, wondering if John Pethick is going to close in before the finish. No problems for Dan Butler, unless Andy Cowell wants to get in the way. Lycida was getting a good run through Crook there for a run at Mark Craddock into Christmas Corner. Peter O'Connor under pressure from Carl Tebbett and Brenton Miller, over 11th place behind. Lycida still not close enough. But Tebbit has put a move on O'Connor. Oh, 3 wide through Zulu. Doesn't work at all. O'Connor backs out and lets Miller go. This is the battle for 11th place. Miller looking to the inside of Carl Tebbit. Difficult place to pass. Only the brave venture in there. Is O'Connor going to recover a position here from Brenton Miller? Not close enough. Look at the lead that Dan Butler's got now. It's the whole of the back straight. It's 5.5 seconds. No such luck for Lee Clackett. He's got Chris Powell on his bumper. Miller, Tebbit, O'Connor still going at it. Battle for 11th. Carl Tebbit looking to get a run on Pete O'Connor up to Christmas Corner. We've cut back to the battle between Anthony Teal and John Pethick over 7th. And we're back to the battle for 3rd, and Clackett made a mistake there, and that's let Chris Powell and Mark Craddock close in. We may still have some action before the finish here. So Chris Powell sweeping into Krug, looking to get a run up to Christmas Corner. We're following Anthony Teal and John Pethick. Pethick's looking for that run, he's got it, he's got the drive. Teal goes narrow to hold him off. Pethick looking to the outside now. We'll look to cut across and get a run into Inkermans. Teal is wise to that. Not close enough for John Pethick. And Dan Butler is moving on to the final lap of the final. His lead is over 6 seconds ahead of Phil Ingram. He's comfortably ahead of Lee Clackett, who's managed to break away from Mark Craddock, who's moved past Chris Powell. Pethick still on his bumper. Anthony Teal holding him off. Another 40 seconds or so to hold him. And 7th place will be his. Brenton Miller, Carl Tebbit, Pete O'Connor, Brian Trott fighting over 11th. Trott finally making some progress from the back of the field. Will be disappointed, I'm sure. Powell is back ahead of Mark Craddock. Can he hold him to the finish? Dan Butler wins. A comfortable victory for Dr. Dan. And a 2nd place for Phil Ingram. Is he going to crash the Jamie Jenkins Kieran McCullough duel for the championship title? We shall see at Buckmore Park in 2 weeks' time.
Winning the first final by an absolute country mile. He set the fastest lap in doing so. Winner of final 1, Phil Ingram. So Phil having a very good day actually. He was pipped in final 2, but he came away with a 2nd place, which helps his championship. He was lying 3rd before today, so still in with a shout. Final number 2 was pretty much a repeat of final 1 with a different driver. He actually walked away with it from the start. It's probably the two most boring Premier finals I think I've ever watched in my life. But today, also with the fastest lap of the race, today's winner, Dan Butler.